Okay, week 2, day 4, self-talk with a twist. So day 4 here, we're introducing you to, in psychology, which is a brilliant idea, and it's called internal family systems, or IFS, moving forward. So what it does is it views our mind as a complex system of parts or sub-personalities, that there's different aspects of us. It's kind of strange, like we'll say phrases like, I noticed that I was thinking this. Well, if you noticed that you were thinking it, that means that there's probably different aspects to you, or at least different parts of you working on different kind of levels. So that sort of spirit or that sort of idea helps us kind of dive into this. So this one, just as a word of warning, it can bring up some stuff. This one can be challenging. If you start to kind of have an emotional response to it, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to push through. Give yourself a little space, give yourself a little grace. And if it's really challenging, like, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to talk through a situation with you. We can either do that in email or a call or whatever. I don't want to like open you up here and then leave you hanging. Like, these questions can be challenging and this process can be a little challenging. So if there's difficulty here, know that you're not alone, and know that I've got you if things come up for you. So the IFS, Internal Family Systems model, identifies 3 primary parts, and they serve different roles. First is exiles. These parts carry the burdens of trauma, often from childhood experiences. They hold painful emotions like fear, shame, sadness. To protect the individual from feeling this pain or this fear or this sadness, these parts are often suppressed or hidden away, hence the term exiles. Now we've got our managers. These parts work to keep the exiles' painful emotions, remember fear, shame, sadness, trauma, from coming into consciousness, from screwing everything up. That's what a manager thinks of these exiles, that they're going to cause a mess, right? They're going to wreak havoc on the order that we've established in our lives. They try to maintain control of situations and relationships to prevent the feelings of vulnerability or hurt from surfacing. Managers can manifest as perfectionism, as people-pleasing behaviors, or like being overly compliant, or obsessive thinking. These are all ways that our minds pretty brilliantly came up to cope with overwhelming, flooding, unprocessable in the moment feelings. So if you do have some perfectionism, like I do, if you do have some people-pleasing behaviors, again, like I do, if you got some obsessive thinking, again, you're wondering where I got this list, aren't you? It's from my own brain. So I've learned to see those things in a little different light thanks to the perspective that IFS gives us. Next is firefighters. When exiles break out, remember, they're kind of caged away, they're suppressed, they're thrown out of the city, they're thrown out of the house, to protect ourselves from those painful experiences. They do break through every once in a while. And as their emotions kind of flood the consciousness, think of it as fire, the firefighter reacts to douse the pain. They use means necessary to distract the mind from the exile's feelings. This can result in impulsive behaviors like substance abuse, binge eating, or even self-harm. A big one for me is like, I'll check out on my phone or I'll overeat. That's a common one for me. I feel so uncomfortable, or I feel so vulnerable or distressed or weak, or I'm having an interpretation of why I'm feeling the way I am, and it's not super positive. And so I'll like go to things that give me that dopamine hit, or go to things that potentially momentarily make me feel better, but don't actually address what's going on. So, again, this one is a bit of a longer one, so give yourself a little bit of space and time for that. So we'll be looking at our exiles, our firefighters, our managers, and we'll notice different parts of ourselves coming forward in different situations, hopefully noticing some patterns there. And then we'll kind of dive into some more questions. So this one, if it's challenging, or if you're like, dude, I don't want to do this. This sounds shitty and awful and terrible. You're not alone. This feels shitty and awful and terrible for a lot of us. The goal is to notice how shitty and awful and terrible things feel sometimes, and hopefully introducing some ways that we can start to manage that or cope with it in more helpful, resilient ways. You didn't think we were going to get resilient the easy way, did you? I always have that kind of pipe dream, like, oh, it'll be easy. A lot of the time it's not. So if this is overly difficult or challenging, please shoot me a message. I want to hear from you guys. I want to have these conversations. You're not burdening me or overwhelming me or bothering me. I've got space for you guys. So I want to hear from you. And if things come up, let me know.